The gun position burned down.
Overnight, another Ukrainian drone strike shook the city of Yelets in Russia's Lipetsk region, with local reports suggesting the Energia plant was once again the primary target. This facility holds strategic importance, as it produces batteries for drones, as well as power units for aviation and naval systems, while also serving the missile and space industry. The attack highlights Ukraine's continued effort to degrade Russia's military-industrial base deep inside its territory. Notably, Energia has already been struggling, with its director admitting earlier this year that mounting debts and delayed wages had pushed the enterprise to the brink of closure. Now, with repeated strikes further destabilizing its operations, one of Russia's key defense producers faces an increasingly uncertain future. And back to the land of dead. Russian werewolves in uniform, profiteering businessmen, and grifters on Telegram are keeping the war in Ukraine going for their own personal benefit, according to another vitriolic commentary from the popular Russian war blogger, Fighter Bomber. Once again referring to Russia euphemistically as Laos, the author writes, "Well, I'll say a little more about Laos. Everything in a heap, so as not to get up twice. Here at one meeting on the eve of the negotiations in Alaska between our leader and the American one, the toastmaster of the meeting said something like the following to his servants. I really hope that they will not come to an agreement there, because the war must continue no matter what. It is not customary for subordinates in the army to ask their superiors for explanations, because a good subordinate is not one who asks questions. A good subordinate is an obedient one who obeys without question and on time. Therefore, the reasons and motives behind the Toastmaster's phrase remain unknown. War today, as always, is profitable for a huge number of people in Laos. For werewolves in uniform, businessmen who jumped on government contracts, 15% emergency collectors, or people who appeal for donations but take a 15% cut for themselves, representatives of the military-industrial complex, sergeants of yesterday who are now leading experts and commanders on Telegram, and a whole bunch of other people. Therefore, not everyone wants the war to end. In general, this toastmaster of the meeting is partly right. A military man must and is obliged to either fight or prepare for war. Of course, himself, personally. If he craves war in order to climb higher in the military hierarchy over the corpses of his subordinates, then that is one kind of thirst for war. Such people are easy to find. Today, they abuse the phrase "at any cost," just like their grandfathers, like, "we can do it again." But the situation was somewhat different for their grandfathers. Back then, it really was at any cost. Nowadays, the question of the survival of the people and the country is not acute. And if it is worth it, then it is definitely not at the level of at any cost. Nowadays, the question of the survival of the people and the country is not acute. And even if it is certainly not at the level of at any cost. If a professional soldier is waiting for war to test and prove himself, his knowledge, skills, and training, wisely applying the command, "do as I do," then that is a different kind of thirst for war. I fully support that. But to fucking use the lives of our country's military personnel and civilians to get a position or a badge on your chest is bad. It's wrong. I'm telling you about badges, medals, orders, as a user. In civilian life and in the army, no one gives a shit about them. And all medalists will sooner or later end up in civilian life. It is considered normal here when a veteran of all our country's wars, covered in medals and orders, can easily and casually be publicly insulted by some fucking refugee, and at best, no one will give a shit, and at worst, they will applaud him and throw him some money. The same citizens of the country that this veteran defended are applauding, and it will be the same with you. Well, these are the times we live in. Strive to remain human, not to earn medals. Tomorrow, there will be a new war, and its veterans will also believe that this war is more important than all the others, that they are more veteran, and that they deserve a sweeter carrot. It is inevitable. Perhaps you remember the phrases used by millions of turbo-patriotic channels at the beginning of the attempts at a peaceful negotiation process to everyone who supported these negotiations? What did we have in the text? 500 deserters, warming up, drain, traitors, cowards. We need to get to the English Channel. Odessa is ours, etc., etc. Where are they all today? Quietly sucking dick and nodding at the television. Why? Because the wind whispered that they would take away their calorie-rich dick if they continued in the same vein. In 100% of cases, these are yesterday's game reviewers, refugees again, purely civilian media representatives, and at best, a couple of yesterday's corporals who, having seen a trench once, decided that from that moment on, they were military analysts and experts of interplanetary scale. Why is that? Because it's money. At the end of the war, 99.9% of all these experts will rest in peace along with their emergency supplies and channels. There will be no content. That's why everyone is striking while the iron is hot today. That's why they're on their couches until the channel. Nothing personal, just business. Okay, that's it. Let's stop whining for today. But since this is not about us, but about Laos, don't pay too much attention to it. And on the battlefields, a Ukrainian bomber drone dropped a barrage of VOG grenades at once on a Russian dugout in Donetsk region. A Ukrainian strike wiped out a Russian artillery position. One Russian serviceman on comms admitted, "The gun's gone, everything burned. The dugout's gone, the whole forest too. Fire crews came, but it was too late."
The gun position burned down.
Here is the cannon, still all in smoke. The cannon seems intact, not much, maybe a little on the surface. Clean it up and it can still work. Everything burned down. There's the cellar, that's where our dugout was.
The dugout is completely burned out, that's it.
Let's see, I'll show you how it looks. That's it. The whole forest, and further on it goes. The fire brigade came. It was already too late, of course, but they localized it. It didn't seem to spread further down, but everything here burned down. They couldn't stop everything that was in our little duty dugout. Everything burned. Only the phone, documents, everything. And here was our dugout, and it's done for. Everything burned out here.
The cord is burned, so
Zelensky revealed that during today's call, Trump said openly, "Hungary and Slovakia are helping Russia's war machine by buying its oil, and this must stop." Earlier, Orban and Fico had complained to Trump about Ukrainian strikes on the Druzhba pipeline. Suckers.
Volodymyr Zelensky. President Trump is very unhappy that Russian oil is being bought by Europe. Among other things, there are two countries. We know that these are Hungary and Slovakia, and everyone understands that these countries, yes.
But I want to remind everyone, when Russia attacked our energy sector and we in response attacked their energy sector, on which they make money and then spend this money on weapons, it was these two countries that complained to President Trump that Ukraine is reducing the opportunities to obtain the corresponding oil. Therefore, you see, Ukraine found such a type of sanctions. But of course, I am glad that today the United States of America is absolutely openly talking about naming these countries, saying that they are helping the Russian war machine.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, Please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days.